Hi folks, how you doing? RussellTrueResults303.com. Check out the website, link in the description box. Mind, body, spirit, fitness, putting the healing back in health. Coming at you today with a little biblical wisdom. Just some scripture verses from the Bible and how they relate to nutrition. I've done a few of these videos in the past. Some of those will be in this, but there's also going to be some new stuff. I'm just trying to group it all together now. And of course, as I do continue to read, I might add to this list and have to make a new video. But here we go, right? So a lot of people will say the Bible is misinterpreted, right? We're not supposed to look as deep into it as we do. At least that's what a lot of the people that are more on the metaphysics side, and they're more of those people that believe in the secret, and as long as you think positive things happen. So they say, yeah, you dive into it way too much, or you're looking the wrong in the wrong places, and that's not really what it meant. You misunderstood it, misinterpreted it, whatever the case may be. But so I was reading, and it's in no particular order. I'm going to jump all through the Bible on this, but I just wrote them down here for you. So I was reading today. I just found a book called "The Richest Man in the World and His Secrets" or something, and it's about King Solomon and the Proverbs. So I was reading a little bit of Proverbs this morning, and what I got was Proverbs 15:17. It said, "Better is a dinner of vegetables where love is than a fatted ox and hatred with it." And this one, right when I read it, it popped out in my mind. And that's because now everybody knows that there's research, not everybody, you might not know, but there's research out there now that says since we are spiritual beings, or the vibrations that we have in our bodies, that the more, like, if the person is depressed, then their body is depressed. We all know that once we are depressed, it affects our entire body, right? That's when we can get sick. When they say you're so stressed out that you're getting sick. If you go to the doctor, right, you need to stop being so stressed. That's why you're sick. That's why you have these illnesses. That's why you have ulcers. That's why you're constipated, whatever the case may be. So the same thing happens in today's world of these mass production meat farms, cattle farms, pig farms, things like that. These animals are so depressed because they're confined into small areas. And that, like with the chickens, if you watch some of these documentaries out there, these chickens are in such small coops that they cut their beaks off so that they can't peck at each other and kill each other. And then there's just dead chickens all around them, and they're just walking on top of them, right? So they're confined to such small spaces that these chickens are literally depressed, and you're eating the meat of an animal, of a cow, a chicken, a pig, whatever the case may be, that is in a really depressed state and hates life, right? We are torturing these animals for our own good, not for our own good, but so we can eat, so they can make money off of it. So that's what it says. Better is a dinner of vegetables where love is than a fatted ox and hatred with it. So it's that same concept, right? That one was really good. I like that one. Next one, I've used this one before, Daniel 1:12 through 15. This is where I don't remember reading the beginning of it, but Daniel is at the castle with the king, and they're trying to feed him food from the king's table, and he's like, no, no, no. He says, please test your servant for 10 days. Let us be given vegetables and water to drink. You can then compare our appearance with the appearance of the young men who ate the royal rations, and deal with your servants according to what you observe. So he agreed to the proposal and tested them for 10 days. At the end of the 10 days, it was observed that they appeared better and fatter than all young men who had been eating royal rations. Now, of course, this is not to say, the king, they're eating meat, drinking wine, having a good old time. But once again, in today's world, it's just a proven fact that vegetables have more vitamins and minerals and the things that actually nourish the body than meat, fast food, fried foods, soda, anything like that. Those don't have any real nutritional value. And vegetables and fruits are where it's at when it comes to being healthy. So I said right here, it says there, and at the end of the 10 days, it was observed that they appeared better and fatter than all young men who had eaten the royal rations. And of course, it's fatter in this, it was a sign of health. Whenever we ourselves see someone that's kind of chubby, they're, or they notice, like when I started putting on weight, when I was drinking a lot, they always say, "Oh, you're healthy." It's like, well, no, I wasn't really healthy because I was eating a bunch of fast food and drinking all the time. So no, I wasn't healthy, you know, but that is a sign of health when you have a little bit of meat on your bones sometimes. They say for men or people in general, when the fat is around the abdominal area, that's dangerous. But when it's in the hips, that's a healthy weight when it's in your hips. Abdominal area is bad. That's what some of the research is starting to show now. So once again, there's just a little bit hidden nutrition in there. Next, we're going to go Ezekiel 4:9. And you will take wheat, barley, bean, and lentils, millet, and spelt. Put them into one vessel and bake bread for yourself during the number of days that you lie on your side. 390 days you shall eat this bread. This is Ezekiel bread. This is where it comes from, Ezekiel 4:9. This is what they say is probably the healthiest bread that you can eat, is this Ezekiel bread. And like I said, it's called Ezekiel 4:9 because they get it, the ingredients, the recipe, directly from the Bible. And that's, if you didn't know, some people might not know that if you're not a spiritual person or a Christian or anything like that. Next, we're going to go Ezekiel as well, 47:12. On the banks, on both sides of the river, there will grow all kinds of trees for food. Their leaves will not wither, nor their fruit fail, but they will bear fresh fruit every month, because the water for them flow from the sanctuary. Their fruit will be food, and their leaves for healing. So once again, it's the same thing. And of course, they're saying water from the sanctuary. This is when they were building the sanctuary and things like that. But once again, if the food, like you said, with today's population, with all the chemicals in the world right now and the contaminants everywhere, we need to have clean water. Like we have water, any third world country would love to have running water like we do here in the States, but you should invest in a water purifier, because the water coming out of those faucets aren't the greatest for our bodies. If that's all you've got, hey, water, you need it to survive, drink it. But that's what he said, this water comes from the sanctuary. So it is pure water coming from the sanctuary, from this holy place, right? And then next thing is, we've got to realize that there are food alternatives for depression, for diabetes. If you want to get rid of type 2 diabetes, it's pretty much just make a dietary change. That's all it is, right? A lot of these illnesses are coming down to now. There's the Garrison, I think it's called the Garrison Project or something like that, where it's all about drinking these juices from a juicer on the hour, every hour of the day, and just flooding your body with vitamins and minerals that help you overcome cancers and tumors and all these different diseases. It's called the Garrison Project. And you should check it out. I mean, of course, it's a lot of money, because those juicers you have to put in, to get a 12-ounce glass of fruit juice, you need to put in like 20 apples if you want that much apple juice or something along those lines. So yes, it's more expensive, and you have to, it's a lot of money, but so are these medications, so is chemotherapy, so is whatever, surgery and things like that. So once we're able to actually get our mind right, our nutrition right, our health is just going to follow. And like I said, there's a lot of things where they say depression if you eat, I think it's, I can't remember, a certain nut, macadamia nuts, no, Brazil nuts, I think it is. If you eat Brazil nuts a certain amount, it gives you the same effect as an antidepressant without all the negative side effects. And a lot of these things, a lot of these medications come from things like that. That's what we've got to realize. They have just what's the word I'm looking for? Isolated the compound in these plants and turned it into a pill, a drug, right? I've heard that the beginning of aspirin and things like that was like from snake venom or something. Look it up yourself. I could be completely wrong. But so it's a compounded snake venom that they've now turned into to make aspirin. But before it was just snake venom, right? So, a lot of crazy things. My cousin on my dad's side, that's the white side of my family. My mother's side is the Hispanic side. When she was going through, she has a lot of health issues, and at one point they had her on 50,000 milligrams of vitamin D. And she's a really pale girl. She works inside at the hospital and things like that, so she doesn't get outside as much. But 50,000 milligrams, that's 50 grams a day. It was either that or 25,000 milligrams. So it's still 25 grams a day of vitamin D to help with one of the issues that she was having. So they were just giving her a super dose of vitamins to help her situation. So once again, that's something that we've got to realize, that these foods and these plants are more healing than a lot of these medications that have these crazy side effects. Next, Matthew 15, 10, and 11. Then he called the crowd to him, this is Jesus, and said to them, listen and understand, it is not what goes into the mouth that defiles a person, but it is what comes out of the mouth that defiles. That's 10 and 11. If we jump to 20, this is when he's explaining it to his disciples. It says, these are what defile a person, but to eat with unwashed hands does not defile. This is because the Pharisees came up to him and said, how come your people don't, your followers don't wash their hands? Why aren't they washing their hands like everyone else? And this one's crazy. It says that, it's not what a person eats without unwashed hands, it does not defile him, right? And that's new research now. I'm trying to think, it's a female doctor, and she talks about how washing your hands is almost actually a downfall because our body needs these bacteria and parasites that are on our hands to battle some of these cancers and viruses and sicknesses within our body. Bacteria that overcomes other bacteria. They say 90% of your immune system is in your gut, in your intestines. What's in your intestines? Bacteria, right? So the bacteria is what builds the immune system to fight off viruses and other bacteria. And then they say now they're starting to fight some viruses and bacteria with parasites. Like your body might have a worm in it, but it's only there not because you ate something bad, but that worm might be there to actually fight off, or that parasite might be there to fight off whatever illness is in your body. It's battling it. So once we eliminate that parasite, things can get even worse, possibly. I'm not sure. You have to do more research. It was just a little bit that I heard during that talk. And then it comes down to the same thing where they're saying now when C-sections are becoming, very dominant in the childbirthing process, where they're always saying you need to have a C-section. Well, they're saying now that can be difficult for women or for the babies, because as the baby comes out of the womb, the mother's fluids are getting in its eyes, getting in its mouth, all over its body, and that's what actually plants the immune system. So they get the bacteria, maybe a little bit of poop, I don't know, whatever fluids happen down there, and it's getting into their mouths, and now that bacteria is helping seed their immune system. And once if they come out of the C-section, when they cut it open, they're missing those key bacteria and nutrients in their body to help build that immune system from the beginning. I'm running out of time. I'm sorry, this one's getting long. Deuteronomy 22:9. You shall not sow your vineyard with a second kind of seed, or the whole yield will have to be forfeited. Both the crop that you have sown and the yield of the vineyard itself. So this is where I came up with the concept that maybe this is more of a warning for genetically modified foods, where we're combining things together, right? Possible, could be a reach, but it could also come down to, it says don't sow two kinds of seed. Nowadays, with Monsanto owning the rights to their seeds, farmers can't even collect seeds to regrow, because that seed they collect is a genetically modified seed. And since that seed is a genetically modified seed, Monsanto owns it. Or even if they plant regular crops, if Monsanto seed, if they're the only natural seed, but everything around them is genetically modified, and the wind blows it into their into their field, and now they're growing genetically modified, they can be sued by Monsanto for growing their seeds without purchasing it from them. That's almost the same concept that's going on right here, right? If you sow 2 seeds, you will lose it. You will lose everything. And that's kind of what's happening to these farmers nowadays with the genetically modified seeds. Next, we're going to go Exodus 23:10 through 11. For 6 years you shall sow the land and gather it in its yields, but on the 7th year you shall let it rest and lie fallow, so that the poor of the people may eat, and what they eat, what they don't eat, the wild animals may eat. You shall do the same for your vineyards. It's the same thing. It's we over produce on our lands right now, and since we do that, sorry, I was looking at my clock. I thought it was going to go out there. So as we overproduce on our lands now, our vegetables and our fruits don't even have vitamins and minerals on them because our lands are so depleted. We don't follow this rule of letting the land rest every 7 days. And then all of a sudden, he's like, you don't grow anything. Whatever grows, let the poor have. Let the animals eat. So now the animals are on there. They're eating. They're fertilizing the land. We don't have to do these things. And we let the land rest. We let it recuperate, just like God asks us to do on the 7th day. Last one, Jesus fasted and tempted in the devil for 40 days, something that we don't do. Once again, it's fast, let the body rest. That's what fasting has come down to. They say letting the digestive system rest allows the body to digest food better and to heal itself. If the body's digesting food all the time, it doesn't have the ability to repair itself. And that's why we become sick, because we have all these toxins in our body, right? Same thing why we can get fat, or sometimes we fail to lose weight. We fail to lose weight because our body has so many chemicals in it. It's saying, I can't lose any more, because if I do, we're going to flood the body with so many chemicals right now that you're going to be in danger. Or there's so many chemicals in your body right now, your body creates more fat to store more of these chemicals and these dangers, right? That's why when you actually fast, you start to get massive headaches and you feel really cruddy, because finally the body is detoxing itself. Or at least that's the concept behind fasting. Oh man, I'm going long on you guys. Sorry. So there you go, And once again, that's just a discipline thing itself. When they talk about diet and nutrition, it's all about portion control. And if you're able to fast, that's allowing yourself to realize that, hey, maybe I wasn't really hungry. Sometimes they say you're never really hungry. You might just be thirsty. Now, your body's only your stomach's only growling because you need water. Drink 20 ounces of water. Most likely the hunger will go away. So that was a big one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for sticking around. I'm at the 18-minute mark right now. But I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you, gives you some more insight. Like I said, there's some great knowledge in the Bible about nutrition, some that probably never would have you never would have even thought. There's probably a lot I missed. And then, I'll just make a part 2 of this video when I start reading more. Excuse me. So once again, I hope this helps. Subscribe to the channel, share and like these videos.